So I'm joined today by Jenni Tribe. Hi, Jenni.
Hi Sharon.
We've known each other for quite a while now, and we have a lot of the same interests in working with women who are pregnant and have had birth trauma and things like that. So I'm just really happy that you're doing, very similar work to myself. Jenni, can you just let us know a little bit about your journey with Matrix Reimprinting, why you were drawn to using it, and how it's helped you?
Yeah, certainly. I've always been interested in holistics, and I was a nurse and a midwife, and I was very disgruntled with they weren't listening to the woman, and it was all becoming a bit medical. So career-wise, I wasn't very satisfied, but on a personal journey, I'd had a lot of self-esteem issues, and I was always outwardly quite confident and competent, but underneath I had certain doubts of whether I was good enough, and academia for me was always a struggle, and great at hands-on. Anyway, I found reflexology, and I'm fortunate enough that I train reflexologists to look after pregnant women and aspects of fertility and postnatal and that. But personally, I was going through quite a tumultuous time. I seemed to get up with, sort of connect with. I only had a few relationships, but I was always trying to fix them or mother them, or not ideal. So the crux of it was I had a second meltdown. I had a meltdown after my first daughter. My dad had died suddenly the year before, but I'd just gone on and carried on and not grieved. And that had given me trauma issues. And then later, I think it was 2013, again, a bit of a toxic relationship was coming to an end. I knew it needed to end, but you just cling on. But the crux of it was that I had a big wobble and a breakthrough, not a breakdown. And it was ironic because the person that I'd had the separation from, that had all this stuff, actually did some EFT with me. And something huge, I mean, that was probably all that the purpose of our relationship, if anything. And it was hilarious because something really huge shifted, which I felt on a level that I was looking for. Then somebody else recommended Carl's book, the one he co-authored with Sasha. And I read it because there was a query they were trying to diagnose me as bipolar. And I'm thinking, I'm not bipolar. I'm not bipolar. This is an emotional cause that something's happened. And so I rang Carl because Sasha said about her curing her bipolar and the issues and everything around it. And he was so good. He said, just come for therapy. But it's actually a practitioner's training. And part of me was thinking, well, you never know where this takes you. And so I trained with Carl, I think it was 2013. So that was after, I mean, it's 4 years ago this week that I had the wobble. I mean, again, it's all synchronicity and serendipity. It's lovely. And so I did his training. I got to the root cause of lots of stuff. And it was a few months later that I found my sort of one belief, which we talk about. But then it took me about a year to do the exams. But it was the following February when I'd met you at the day, and I thought, I need to do your work. So trained with you, and whoa, that was just incredible. My recurring dream sensation was a separation from a man, especially in my life, that, there was this sort of, I was becoming clingy, but I didn't know quite that separation and rejection stuff. And the interesting thing about it was I'd always had this nightmare about my hands up here, and my dad comes in and leaves me, and I sensed it was while I was in my cot. Anyway, it was with your work that you took me back, and or whoever I was working with at the time. And I'm 18 months old. It's the day that my sister's being born at home in the room next door. And so normal labour noises, what's an 18-month-old thinking? Mum's threatened, Bambi moment. Did I then become a midwife to suss that the stranger in the house wasn't actually harming my mum? And also the fact that my dad comes in, I'm terrified, but he leaves me. So the trauma at that moment is that, all the men I love leave me. It was separation, abandonment, everything else. And it just made so much sense. And as you taught me, that you get to the root core and, that belief and change it. And when I've revisited it over the last few years, there's been an episode of feeling stuck. There's been something that stopped me from going on to what I do. The kids think it's procrastination, and other people might consider that I'm lazy. No. It's getting forward to these blocks, and it's actually saying, this isn't right to force it. I need to work this out before I go ahead.
Yeah.
And it was interesting because the last time I revisited baby Jenni in that cart, before it was a case of everything's fine, they still love you, she'd go to sleep. This time it was stuff that, and she got out of the cot and she went. And since that, my life's really picked up. It's really changed.
Wait, when you say she went, where did she go?
Well, she went to find out. She then went to find what was going on.
Right.
So
excellent.
she was no longer needing to be rescued. She was no longer needing to be saved.
Got you.
She was independent. And that's been incredibly changing, because I had quite a strong father. So his word went. We were, be seen and not heard, and lovely man, but his control mechanisms were such that it was really quite oppressive. And even though he's been gone 24 years, you're still thinking, if I do this course, for your dad's permission, you're still continually putting yourself through courses for that pat on the back that you're looking for from your dad, even though he's gone. So yeah, the EFT, Carl's work was amazing because it got to the root cause of me with this imbalance in my relationships, and then went on to other things, because I'd had severe postnatal depression with Lucy, and that was delayed grief, and obviously the psychosis that I had after that, which is where I'm all right, I'm coping. But when you're sorting cupboards out at 2:00 in the morning and everybody else is going, I don't know what to do with her, but she's a midwife, she must know what she's doing. It was all rather frantic. So from that point, actually, I wrote my job description. I designed my own job description when I was in the height of chaos after my first daughter. And with that, it was, I want to empower women across the globe, traveling as I do, really loving what I want to do. And I'm now living that. I'm now, the doors have opened. I now believe I can do that. And when I teach the maternity reflexology, I introduce them all to EFT, Matrix Reimprinting, birth reimprinting. We've got some of my students have gone on to train. It's just getting that word out there that, trauma comes from a belief that you make. And when I was just reflecting on some of the clients that I've worked with. I had a client who has lost a baby previously at 16 weeks. She had sort of addressed it and talked to him and come to, but she wanted to be pregnant again, but she was rather overweight, but she couldn't eat coloured food. And found it quite interesting that we would go back and, we took her through. And it was a trauma with her parents separating. She's sitting under a tree at school and she suddenly feels done for, that, what's going to happen to her and her sister because her parents are splitting up. And again, when you're in alignment and you get that questioning come through, and I said, well, what colour's your lunchbox? And that was the trigger. And she said, bright red, and there's an orange in it, and the grass is really, really green. Yeah. So we went through her eating that lunch, what did it taste like, reassuring that child that she did survive and, and coming through here. And she was trying to get pregnant and she was struggling to get pregnant again. So having worked on the food, and she had this real gag, and it was related back to gagging on the shock and the upset of that emotional time. She went home and apparently she nicked all the veg off her husband's plate. Then they wanted to go out for curry. She was fantastic. She, was losing weight, and she ate all the coloured food under the sun. And then joyfully, she conceived naturally triplets within a few months. Yeah.
Triplets.
So she was catching up. So she was thrilled. But I I've got that inner glow again. I've got that inner feeling that, yes, there are tests, but they're just tests. It's not that the world's at an end. It's not to take life personally. It's not to take that, you know, what's thrown at you is unachievable. It's all we need to do is learn the skills we need to sort out problems. You know, if children could be taught, like, for example, what skills do you need to solve those problems? That you're independent, that actually we're not lonely. Everyone can feel lonely when they're depressed and isolated, but it's not until they open that door they end up communicating with someone else and they go, I feel like that, and you realize that we're all together in this loneliness. But with this work, it's now enabled me to get back in touch with, or continue rather, with the pregnant women, the poor families who have lost, whether it's stillbirth, miscarriage, or even termination. You know, that really can give you feelings of guilt, fear and shame that really make a huge difference in you not being able to express yourself and be yourself. You know, if someone's had, you know, gone through, it's not an easy decision to make, and they need support. And no matter what else is someone's judgments, they sometimes never get over it. Never. I was just trying to think of another one. There was another woman who had a really important job, very stressed, and she came to me pregnant, absolutely petrified. But she was still carrying around in her handbag, in her mid-30s, 40s, the toy that her mum gave her when she was 4. And that was because it was the only physical manifestation of affection from her mother. So she couldn't let go of that, and she was worried about what would they think if I go into hospital and I've got this toy with me. So we did this visualization of going back and actually putting the toy in her heart so that it didn't matter where it was with her at all times. The difference in this woman, this permission to let go, this permission to allow on an energetic level your connection with who you really are, and that you're no longer carrying around baggage. Traumatic deliveries, definitely. I had a girl who was a victim of domestic violence, and she'd had trouble with her previous labours, that she would get stuck, and the belief was, I need help, I can't do this on my own. Because she'd been abused and made to think that she wasn't good enough to do it on her own. She was now with another new lovely relationship, and this was their last child together to complete their family, and her ultimate dream was a water birth. But she needed to get over that fear that she wasn't good enough and would need help. So we actually went through to the future reimprinting of feeling and bringing to her all the energies that she needed. She'd even pick a date and a time, and she birthed her baby girl within an hour or two of that time and that date, and it was just, she just couldn't believe it. So nothing's impossible. Nothing is impossible. And you know, you're visualizing. I've learned more about, you know, whether it's the law of attraction, whether it's just standing back and waiting for the signs to go, you know, actually, what is it I really want to do? It's not working in an office for me. I want to be able to travel the world and help people by Skype. Excuse me. I want to work around and be wherever I want to be. It's that freedom. You know, it's not in this paradigm of slavery to money. It's about that exchange of energy and empowering the next generation, really.
Beautiful. Thank you, Jenni. Jenni, and if people listening to this are drawn to working with you, how would they find you?
They would. They can look on Facebook. There's Jenni Tribe, Trauma Transformer. That was the nickname I was given. And it stuck.
Jenni Tribe, Trauma Transformer.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's the Facebook page. If not, they can Google me. And,
do you have a website?
Yes, I have. It's just coming to fruition at last because of procrastination. And I'm playing on my, using my maiden name, which is Tribe, which I was delightfully riddled with when I was younger, with ooh. But now it's the Transformation Tribe.
Transformation Tribe. Is that .com?
.uk.
.uk.
Yeah,
.co.uk or just...
No, just .uk.
Fabulous.
So the transformation tribe.uk.
Excellent.
Yeah. Arrange a free consultation of 15 minutes to chat whether we suit and what their thoughts are, and I'd be delighted to help them just feel free and really live the life that they want.
Thank you. And if there was one message that you could send to Carl, what would you like to say to him?
I am just so proud of myself for making that call to you, because I used to find it, and still do find it, hard to reach out and ask for help. And you were such a gem, Carl, on the phone, and you've changed my life and those of all the people that I can help too. And keep going, because your work is amazing, and lots of love. Really heartfelt. Thank you. Thank you, Jenni. Bless you. And you too, because your work's amazing, and it's it's helped me do what I do. To it's, for me, it's better than the midwifery. Midwifery for me was just the antenatal, the delivery and postnatal, but this is the whole next generation as well. Yeah. Brilliant. Thank you. Lovely. Take care.